This episode of Blind Grilling, we're going to be cooking up a slab of pork belly. So you don't want to miss this. Stay tuned, and we're going to get this big bad boy on the big green egg. What we've got here is a whole slab, about 5 pounds of pork belly. It was cut off of a larger slab that was about a 13-pound of pork belly. Basically what pork belly is where you get your bacon, but this is uncured, it's unsliced, so it's got a nice fat cap on it. It is going to turn out just absolutely tender, juicy, and once it's done, you've got a lot of options that you can do with it. You can slice it and put it on the grill. You can put it in a hot cast iron skillet and fry it once it's cooled. You know, slice it and fry it up just like you would bacon, or when it's done off the smoker, you can cook it up right then. And so a lot of options with this. We're going to be cooking this on the big green egg at about 275 degrees for a few hours, but very quickly what I've done with it so far is I took a real sharp knife and I scored all across this fat cap, which is on the top. I went ahead and scored a little bit on the underside as well. Then I've got a mixture 50-50 of coarse ground pepper and salt and rubbed that all over. And as though that wasn't enough, we took some apple cider and we mixed it with some brown sugar and we kind of let it soak in there overnight. And what I'm going to do now is take what's left of this apple cider and brown sugar mix and I'm going to pour it just kind of right down here in the bottom of our drip pan. And we're going to let that set in there. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go out, we're going to put this on the big green egg, and we're going to let it go for a few hours, and then we'll be checking it. We're out here at the big green egg. We've got the Flame Boss 200 Wi-Fi hooked up as usual. We're going to be doing a few hours anyway, probably around a 4-hour cook on this pork belly. And so we've got the Flame Boss controlling our temp, got it hooked up. Before we put this pork belly on though, we are going to add a little bit of wood for flavoring. And what I've got here is some persimmon. So let me grab just a handful of this persimmon, stick that in there, and now we're going to put this pork belly right here in the big green egg. We're going to let that go a couple of hours, let the Flame Boss do its job, keep our temp up to, right now on this one, we're going to start out at about 295. And we're going to bring it up to a really nice, good golden color, bronze, kind of get it to start browning a little bit, and then we're going to go from there. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. It's been about 2 hours, and so what we're going to do, we're going to take off this pork butt real quick. Leave that drip pan in there. Set that on the foil we've got here and close this up so the Flame Boss will keep working. And what we're going to do, let's see, is we're going to work on getting this, all that juice right there on the foil. All right. So let's go ahead and put this back in our drip pan real quick. Now we're going to work on folding up our meat. Get this kind of up a little bit. Now remember what we said at the very beginning. Not only do we have some seasoning on here, but another thing that we did was some apple cider. And so we're going to put another splash of apple cider in here. So just to give it a little bit flavor and moisture. And so let's go ahead and work on sealing this up. Tell you what, I'll do this. We're going to seal this up. I'll stick a meat probe in it because we're going to keep track of the temp as well. We're going to stick it right back on the egg, so we'll take care of that. And we'll check it in probably about another hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll be back in just a little bit. Folks, it has been right about 4 hours on this pork belly. And so our internal temp has reached 195. I'm going to take that probe out. Let's go ahead. Set this over here on our cutting board. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at it for you guys that are watching. Got it right there. Let me grab this probe. You can tell, but I mean, there's just no resistance at all. It just slides right through that. Just hot. Gotta be careful not to burn my fingers. So it just goes right through that. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right, we're going to stick this in the cooler and we're going to let it rest for about an hour or so, and then we're going to cut into it. You can see, and we'll slice it up and we'll give it a taste test and be back shortly. So you're looking at the finished product. We've got the pork belly that we pulled off after smoking on the big green egg for about 4.5 hours, and it is just falling apart. It's tender. You know, it's not just mushy, which is great. You know, we've got a little bit of, you know, a firmness to it, but it pulls apart real easy. That fat is melting away. We can put it up here, and that is great. That is some good stuff. You know, you're trying it too, huh? Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet. I want a piece though.
Okay. So, you get right here, because you like more of the meat.
Mhm.
So, there you go.
I was like, you don't have to cut it out, don't worry.
There you go. Let's try that. What do you think?
It's awesome.
Awesome?
Mhm.
Awesome, yeah. You know, basically when you, with this pork belly, you can make almost like pulled pork sandwiches if you want. Once it cools and it's been resting for about an hour, you can take it, you can slice it pretty thin after it's cooled off. You can put it in the fridge. But then what you can do is you can grill it, put it on, you know, fire up your grill and get it real hot and put it on there and brown it up some more. Or just like this, we're gonna make some sandwiches, I think, with this tonight. Some barbecue sandwiches and a few other fixings. But I tell you what, if you haven't tried pork belly and you like pulled pork and you like, let's say, beef burn-ins, this right here falls right between the two. It's like a meat candy, like burn-ins, but it's got the pulled pork with it as well. Outstanding, love it, and hope you guys will try it. Remember, if you're looking, you ain't cooking.